I'm all alone, there's nobody here beside me.
'Cause I'm all alone, there's no one here beside me. My problems have all gone, there's no one to deride me. But you gotta have friends.
Stop singing!
I'm here to talk about loneliness in this episode of Daddy Diaries. Loneliness is such a weird thing because it's something we go through, well, alone. And it's a contradiction in terms almost by itself, because in one point, all we can do is think about our child's death, but then we're trying to find ways to distract ourselves. We feel very strong, but then we feel very weak. We feel like we can do everything, and then we feel like we can do nothing. And you know, there are times that you can be all alone, like I am now here at the stadium. But you could also be all alone even if the stadium was full of people. So which is it? Which is it better to be? Answer, I think, is kind of both. I think you need a little bit of both to have a little sanity. I think that quiet time to reflect with yourself and think about things and how you're going to process it, and almost self-motivating, I think is important. But it's also important to have a mate and have somebody that you can sit down and talk with.
People go to a psychiatrist to talk about their problems. She just needed to unload them. You know, bring them out in the open.
And she got any mates?
You're right. Guess we could all use more mates.
Therapy is good too, if that's all you've got. You know, if a therapist will help you, then by all means go for it. The biggest thing that you should never do is hold everything in, bottle it up, because you know you can only put so much in a bottle. Eventually it's going to burst. You'd be surprised if you've been that person that's always held everything in and never shared your emotions with somebody. You'd be surprised how liberating that actually can be. Just to have a really good cry session with somebody, to let those emotions out, is so beneficial. So my worry is that some of you hold everything in and you don't seek help, you don't talk to anybody, you isolate yourself from everyone, and that's not the way to deal with grief. Remember, grief is happiness, grief is love. The reason you're crying and you're grieving isn't just because they're not here, it's because they were here in the first place. I can't stress that enough. You know, we tend to always look at the glass half empty, I think, when it comes to dying. You know, our whole purpose in dealing with grief is, they're dead, what do I do? Oh my gosh, I can't believe they're dead, they're gone. Instead of concentrating on all the things that we got to share with them when they were here. And I just want everybody to realize that grief is love. Grief is that love coming back. So it's okay to cry, but when you cry because you had them in the first place. Cry because they were with you in the first place. Don't cry because they're not here. Just cry because you love them. And just say that. When you start crying or grieving or feeling sad because they're not here, just say, I love you. And say it to them. If you got to look at a picture of them, look at a picture of them. Do what you got to do, but don't keep crying and don't keep being alone because they're not here. Because the key thing here is you are here. Don't ever forget that. And you don't want to be where they are right now. So embrace that love. Remember, happiness isn't forgetting them. It's just remembering with love. We'll talk again soon.